Yes, indeed. It is the audio mullet. This is Michael J. Nelson. Also here are a couple other guys. I'm
Doug TenNapel, the creator of Earthworm Jim, and I have announced that I am now King Mullet of the Day. Those are my rules.
Ethan is on the line as well. Ethan Nicolle. Ethan, do you agree with this?
I don't know what I count as, but I have a giant beard right now, and my hair is strangely. I think I have like a mini mullet going on in the back. I haven't looked back there in a while.
I pronounce you Queen Mullet.
Ooh, that's harsh.
I have no problem with that.
Do you have like neck beard, or is this a distinguished? Is this like a Smith's Brothers? You know, the cough drop guys. Is that kind of a beard?
I have a buzz cut. I look like a coconut. Ethan,
Doug always assumes every question's for him.
Yeah, automatically.
Yeah, really?
My neck is
slow from the conversation when I announced that I was King Mullet, and he goes, "What do you got?" And of course, he was trying to aim it back to you, but I came jumping in, going, "No, let's go and address the first comment that I'm the King Mullet."
Doug still doesn't get what this show's about. He thinks we're talking about actual hairdos.
Yeah, it's a metaphor, Doug. I'm sorry to have to tell you that.
Rip off. I thought we were all growing mullets.
Doug's over there getting his head shaved.
No, this is the show where we talk about unfashionable ideas, things like manhood and honor and ethics and morals and religion, maybe a little politics, who knows.
And frisbee golf. Yeah.
One thing I've noticed, because now that the podcast is actually out, this is our first episode that we've recorded with the podcast actually like on iTunes, and people are listening now. We recorded the first 8 episodes just in a void, all alone, into nothingness, and you might hear that number 8. There is actually one that we deleted, but I put it up on the Audio Mullet website, audiomullet.com, and there's also an episode 0 up there, so there's bonus audio if you guys want to check that out.
Secret episode, by the way, among our famous audience who've already weighed in saying they're big fans is Tom Hanks, Steven Spielberg, Ruth Buzzy, Gene Simmons.
Ruth Buzzy? Wow. What a gag.
Yeah, Ruth Buzzy. I know. I was totally floored.
Ruth Buzzy, she comes to mind as, I forget who the comedian is who would stop in the middle of a show and go, "Ruth Buzzy, what does she do?" That was his comment about her.
That was Tom Hanks.
Oh, okay.
And one thing I've noticed is listening to the episodes is that even if we're not on a topic that is a mullet-like topic, we are 3 mullets, and we're giving it the mullet take. Like, no matter what we talk about, even if it's fashionable, we take this completely unfashionable position.
That is true. That is. Have we gotten any blowback on that? Who's our least?
No, but I've been so far. You know what? Little shout out here. There's a guy on Twitter that follows me who is, as far as I've been able to tell, is opposite of me in every viewpoint ever. Like, you know, I think it's safe to say like socialist, atheist, like full on like everything. And
that's Tom Hanks. I keep telling you guys.
That's this Tom Hanks thing. So anyway, I'll just say his name. His name's Pat, and Pat loves our show. Keeps listening to it. Was always commenting on it. And I warned him. I'm like, I don't think you're gonna like it. And I guess he likes it. So.
Wow, that's cool. Well, that's good. That's right? Good of him to have things come into his ears that he does not agree with.
And that's part of why I was hoping to do this podcast, because I think there's not a lot of there's a lot of conservative podcasts, but there's not a lot coming from the creative field. You know, like people who work in.
There aren't many that are very fun.
Yeah, if there are. I don't know if this one is, but
it's like I have a bunch of conservative podcasts, man. They're like doing homework. It's like going to school, and I like schooling. I like it, but I'm just going, hey, let's have a little fun.
Right. Well, Ethan, you want to give the show rundown for today? Let people know what's coming.
Okay, so we're going to do a series of episodes that we're going to spread them out, but this is going to be the first time we do it, called The Grilling. And so what we're going to do is we're going to grill one member here. It's going to be either me, Mike, or Doug, and we don't know who yet. We're going to ask them how they came to the views that they hold, their faith, even their political views, like whatever it is. So it'll be kind of like, you know, in church, there's this thing known as sharing your testimony. And that's just very mullety.
Yeah.
This would be kind of like a testimony by way of interrogation. So the other guys will.
If this segment becomes a hot diuretic turd on a wedding dress, can we can it, or are we going to go through all 5 episodes?
What is with that imagery?
Episodes?
If we had 6 listeners, they're all gone now. Doug, thank you. Thanks so much.
Well, that's my job.
I mean, if it's not funded, I don't know. Yeah. If an episode's terrible, I'll delete it instantly.
Once again, tell them that you're going to do it 5 times? You do it, and then
Doug is constantly
say in the middle of a show.
He's constantly questioning the show that we're currently doing. I don't think Doug is actually on board for his own show.
I know, it's very strange.
I learned, studying under Tom Hanks, I learned a lot about how to run things. That's all I'm saying. I'm just giving my little opinion.
Like that scene in Forrest Gump where he stops him and he's like, "Is this acceptable for me to be doing this voice, be playing this character?" And he just like stops in the middle of the movie.
Yeah, he looks at me and then I nod. It's cool. And then he does it.
All right. Boy. So what I've got here is I have an online randomizer tool. So I'm going to click the randomize button and I have entered our 3 names into it. So we'll see who gets picked.
Ethan, are you on a D&D site with a die 10 or something? Are you doing a D&D dice?
No.
Okay.
Here we go.
Is D&D mullet, audio mullet or not? We need to decide.
Oh, crap. All right. It picked me. I swear I didn't want to do it, but it picked me.
That was convenient. None of us can check your work. Take my. Oh yeah,
do a
me
screenshot.
first.
Here, I'll do a screenshot.
We can't really post a screenshot in the podcast.
I can only prove it to you guys, really. So.
I'd like to go on the record as lie.
I'll do it again. Want me to do it again?
No, because you'll just lie again, then you'll say it's someone else to make it look like it was legit.
Did we really need a randomizer for 3 guys? I don't know.
I lost Mike for a second.
Am I here? Can you hear me?
You're here.
This is the worst show in the world.
This is the worst, officially. We're supposed to be getting better as they go on.
I know.
Okay, Ethan, go. We're going to grill you on what? What do you want us to grill you on? Or what do we just pick something?
Well, no. His beliefs and his, How did he come to his conclusions? Why does he think the way that he thinks? Grill away.
No, it freaks me out because I feel like I'm probably the fluffiest of the 3 of us here. Like I'm the least solid. So I mean, okay, I'm a Christian. I came to my faith as a young high schooler in a young life.
And why in the world would you trust it? A high schooler? I mean,
I don't want to grill you on religion. Let's go politics. It's easier because I know there's more difference probably between us on politics than religion.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Grill politics.
You weren't restricted to religion. He said you could grill him on anything he wants. You could grill him on.
Okay, Ethan, why are you a stupid socialist right now?
I don't think I am.
Okay, what are you? What are you so I can grill you?
I'd call myself I like stealing this term from someone I heard on the radio, a small C conservative, because I'm afraid if I say there's a capital C on there, that means that I'm like all in with Trump. And I have to admit, there's some things I do like that Trump has done, but I still just can't like be like all my arms around Trump, and I think he's great.
Now, I don't like any of his policies, but I just love the man. I just love him so much.
Yeah.
I love his morals and I love his hair.
Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out what small C stands for. Is that a 4-letter word I'm thinking of?
It's more like an adjective. Good one.
I'm just checking.
All right. Is this show dead?
I'm looking at the timeline that's run. My eyes are on the screen and I saw silence for 10 seconds. Like
Mike's just crying over there.
That's great.
He's crying. Okay, Ethan, I'll go. Small C conservative, oh brother. So you are a conservative, but a small C one. First, let's start with a clarification between a small C and a capital C conservative.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think I've not thought this through very well. I think I was really hoping this randomizer would pick somebody else. I would say that like conservative, I think that it's because when you put the capital C on, there's this whole cultural baggage that comes with it, which really is unavoidable. You can say small c or not, but people are going to take it. That you're just all in with the whole list of like everything from, the Trump cartoon character version of what a conservative is all the way down.
Okay. Okay. I'm here. F you. Small c, you're saying you're trying to avoid baggage, but does not small c have its own?
Everything has baggage. The moment you pick a label, right, you're stuck with the baggage.
It's got the Goldberg, Podhoretz.
But I also hate the
Trump probably colluded with Russia baggage, and then he didn't. So I'm only saying, like, pick your baggage, and baggage is
because I do hate the
why you
I feel like it's
small
cowardly.
C.
Sorry, I go off.
It's good radio when we both talk at the same time.
I agree.
I'm trying not to talk when you do because I talk so much, so I have to leave room for you because you're kind of quieter brother. So I want to leave room for you, bro. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying I agree with you. I think it's cowardly to completely avoid all labels and act like you're above labels. Like,
wait, small c coward or capital C coward?
Oh,
yeah. Oh, that was good.
He's getting grilled now. But don't you have to kind of go down the individual policies that you're either for or against, and also do the deep dive into what do you think is the purpose of government and who for whom and all of that, right? To really get at someone's beliefs.
Well, I mean, and I think like I do, and this is something I think I have evolved on to some extent, and that a person should be allowed to have their beliefs, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they want the entire country to be like forced to all act that way. Like we have to accept that like our country is full of all sorts of people with all sorts of different beliefs, and we're never going to get, as much as I don't want to go all the way to the left where some other person wants this country to go. Like I'm never going to get where everyone wants, on my side to go. So I think people should be allowed to have their own views, even as extreme as they want them to be. There's the general American value that like we take that to the voting booth and we put it to a vote, and we don't all get what we want. And I think a lot of people, it seems like a lot of people don't get that. Like they're very unhappy if the whole country isn't acting as they think everyone should act. And I think that's my way of saying like I've pulled away from. I think that's a youthful way of thinking, a very immature way of thinking, and so that's what I'm trying to get at.
But the small c conservatives like Jonah Goldberg and John Podhoretz, George Will, Bill Kristol, William Kristol, are all very unhappy they didn't get their way, to a point that they were saying, let's vote for baby Hillary instead of Trump. Some of them actually voted for Hillary instead of Trump. So
I wouldn't do that.
I'm just saying policy.
But I didn't vote for it either. I mean, I just backed out completely. And that was really weird for me. I didn't like not voting.
I don't like you not voting either. You got to weigh in on one of these jerks.
Yeah. And I admit, I mean, I look back and I mean, maybe it's a cop out in California. I know that my vote really just doesn't matter to some extent in this state. It's like the state always goes to the left, I'm
gonna grill you on that too. Nobody's vote really matters using that standard unless their state is won by one vote. So literally every state's vote, your vote doesn't matter by that standard.
Mm-hmm.
Grilling.
And I'm fine with agreeing with you on that. Actually, like I said, it's a cop out.
So in the future, then will you make the same choice? I mean, if you're comfortable, well, you have to be comfortable talking about it. You're on the Audio Mullet.
I'm putting myself out there.
Would you? Are you going to abstain again when the choice is going to be somewhat similar? I mean, I think the Democratic Party will probably be even farther to the left than Hillary was, so you'll have that choice. So then, what will you do?
Yeah, no, that's the thing. That's what's crazy. It's like our choices were Hillary and Trump, and like I was put in a place where I was actually willing to back away and be like, fine, because I was pretty sure Hillary was going to win. I was like 99% sure. And I just backed away because what I saw was that I was like, oh, Trump is going to destroy the Republican Party. Like, whatever was left of it and whatever was going to be or whatever was supposed to be, like, it's going to be shattered. It's going to be, because he's just kind of a cartoon character. He's not even like, anyway.
So that's kind of the burn it all down
burn it all down. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought
he's the cartoon character that lowered black unemployment for the lowest it's been in 60 years.
I'm not talking about what he's done. I'm talking about my perception of him was when he was running.
Yeah, but now that you know what
he has done some good stuff. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to. Is that I think he's done a lot of great stuff, and he has. I think that
you put two conservative Supreme Court justices on better than any of the past conservative Reagan and Bush did. So this clown.
No, I agree.
Just judging his performance, and we're looking at a nation full of legal baby killing, legal infanticide, religious freedom on the line. It's time to get over.
I agree.
He's a clown, but he's a hero clown.
No, he's doing great stuff. There's a lot of great stuff he's doing, and I think that one thing that what I was getting at is that's what's crazy to me is that the Democrat Party, where there was like an opening there where like a lot of conservatives were backing away and they could have made their tent bigger. And instead they're like doubling down, and there's like more hardcore abortion laws being passed. They're doubling down on all this stuff. It's like, I'm thinking about stepping away from this thing because Trump's crazy. Like this is me like during the election, and now I'm walking in this middle no man's land, and they're going, oh, cool. Yeah. If you're cool with like even more baby killing, come on over here. I'm like, all right, I guess go back to the crazy guy. It's like, sorry.
But this is why Trump followers see these small C conservatives as nothing conservative at all. They're voting for Hillary. They are undermining Trump's campaign. They are strengthening any B or C level candidate who's remotely conservative, who will lose and only draw votes away from the guy who's going to probably replace Ruth Bader Ginsburg with one of the most conservative Christian Supreme Court pro-life justices there is. That's what the small C conservatives do. So I'm just going, and I don't believe in groups either. You know, the idea that we even parse them out by those definitions. All I know is the guy doesn't have to do much more for me to vote for him again. And I'm probably on principle even more disgusted by him than many people on the left. I actually think I think he's the first Democrat I ever voted for.
Yeah,
that's
true.
How bad I think he is.
And I do think that in a lot of ways he's just that, you know, I've heard this term used, bull in the china shop kind of thing, that in a lot of ways maybe it was just what politics needed, just like he's a logical outcome of where everyone's been headed, and it's probably it's good for us to see the mess that, you know.
I also think he's a fighter in a way that Republicans were. And we're so used to being so academic in our politics, and there's nothing academic about that man. Yeah. And he goes in and just like he's a bare knuckle fist fighter who fights dirty, even and lies. I mean, I've just seen him lie time after time, but he is giving a black eye and ends up producing way more different kinds of conservative principled things that we'd never seen before, like the way he is hopefully, working the economy, which I assume will crash any day, by the way, because of our debt, which is hardly his fault, but making real inroads against abortion, which to me, I'm a single issue voter. Like that is the number one. You can't have a country that you can call stable and good when we're killing, 3,000 of our citizens a day legally and then calling it the good. It's insane.
I'm trying to think of what is an analogy to like these people who the never Trumpers, as they're called, who would rather see, Hillary or her like in office just because they find him distasteful or whatever. That I can't think of another analogy of where someone who for years has been espousing a principle suddenly goes, no, I'm more for the other guy because this guy, he insults me. I don't like the way that I don't like his hair. It seems so odd to do a 180 because he's, like you say, he's literally a clown. I mean, his hair is actually worse than Bozo the Clown's hair. So, He could easily transform into a scary circus clown with no problem. But I just can't think of anyone who would just suddenly forget, you know what, I was one of the Allied forces, but this general yelled at me, so I'm going to go fight with the Nazis. Like, what is that? I just don't get that. And
Ethan, our other heroes, Bush did stuff that compromised conservative principles. Reagan did stuff that compromised conservative principles. So wherever this perfect candidate is, and certainly Obama and Clinton compromised principles, and Hillary would have compromised principles that we hold very dear. Why are Trump's principles he compromises the only ones that matter now? Like we're holding up the exterior of a man and manners and things like that way above principles even of life and death. That's what I don't get.
No, it is weird. I mean, it was while the election was happening, there's a lot of. I mean, I think it's so hard to pin it down, but it's very. It was emotion driven, and just taste, and just like, it's like Trump is the worst version, like cartoon character of what people paint conservatives to be. It's kind of like what he presents himself as, and it's like having to. It almost feels like admitting, like by voting him for him, is admitting that that you're right about us, like, and I think that was for me, like, and maybe I was just too much of a snob to be able to hold my nose and do that or something. But it's just like, ugh. Like I feel like right now they have Ocasio-Cortez, however you say her name. She is the cartoon character of what we paint liberals to be.
Yeah.
She's just this.
She is.
Airheaded, silly, college, I don't know, kind of cliche. Just kind of says things without thinking.
And if she was of age, she'd probably run because she's the
people think she's a hero, and that's the thing. It's like it confirms all of our like cartoon character ideas about the left. Like, oh, they love her. Look, they love this person who's like says the stupidest things constantly, and I don't know.
Got to fight these people, Ethan. Got to fight them in the legal, great, high-minded way that we conduct things in America, and that's do the only thing they don't want you to do, and that's vote for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to do anything but that, and they'll be happy. Vote for a third-party candidate. Vote for the pure guy. Vote for whatever. I see them shaking in their boots, and I'm going to deliver them the best the best spear into the heart of their convictions I can, and I will with relish. I reluctantly did it before. This time I'll do it with great conviction.
Yeah, no, I think, and now that I've been in, post-Trump America, the fear-mongering about Trump has really not proven itself out. And one thing I have seen is the conservative party is actually broadened massively. Like I'm seeing black conservatives all over YouTube. I'm seeing gay conservatives. I'm seeing like the party libertarians. I'm seeing people who are full on Democrats. The only thing that they really disagree with conservatives on is like identity politics. Yeah. And the left is becoming this like identity politics religion. And if you aren't with them on that, then you aren't with them. And that's just making their tent tiny. And
and you're evil, and they don't want you to be able to work. You're evil, and they don't want you to work if you don't agree with their identity politics. This is for like self-preservation of schools, education, the ability to have a family, the ability to publicly practice our religion, hopefully a decent fight against life, giving the unborn a constitutional right to exist. Those are things, even my own party obviously is split on that. But man, I want to be voting on the right side, and I have no regrets with Trump. And remember, this is the guy who said the words, Bush lied to get us into a war, and Ted Cruz's dad was in on assassinating Kennedy. And they said that
forgot about that one.
He's also said that vaccinations cause autism, and like just Obama wasn't born in America. Just some of the dumbest things in the world he has said and believes. And I'm convinced that he's the one that's going to do the least damage to what America is about of all those candidates on the stage. They would have been feckless. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't have fought to put Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court. They'd have caved and just mealy-mouthed or whatever. We need a dirty fighter, and he's a dirty fighter. I wish it was different. I wish the times were different, but I think he really served a good purpose.
So, Ethan, did you get to your answer of what you're going to do or not?
In the next election? I'm pretty much, I'm pretty much 99% sure I would vote for Trump again. I can't think of what the other option would be. I wouldn't vote for the Democrat at this point.
Yeah. Not even good old Uncle Joe?
Yeah. Well, Joe is very charming.
He seems like a nice man.
Gives me a good shoulder rub. I might be persuaded.
Yeah. Hey, and this is an audio mullet topic. When did grabbing a woman by the shoulders and just kind of being a little bit Uncle Creepy, when was that like equivalent to molesting someone?
That's true. I do think people are being like a little extreme, which, you know, I'm no Joe Biden fan, but like, I don't think the man deserves to be sent to like rape jail for sniffing women's hair. It's just,
since when?
It should be like, you know, hey, that's creepy. And people should be like, yeah. And he should be like, oh, it is. And I think that's about the extent of what it should be.
He was always normal Uncle Creepy, just putting his hands on a lady, some other guy's wife, just going, hey, I'm just giving you a little shoulder rub. This is normal. This is all I can get away with in my age and these times.
The hair sniffing is the weird. That's just.
It is bizarre. Some of the videos, you can see the way people are like inching away from him, like uncomfortably, and he's like reaching deeper and deeper into them. It's very weird.
I'm kind of with Joe on this one. Haven't you ever smelled a woman's hair? It's wonderful.
Have you ever done it without their permission?
No, I've never done that. But I'm just saying, anytime a woman walked by who had good smelling hair, I'm like going, man, I'm glad that's walking around right now. I'm glad she exists because it makes life a little better. Why do women wear perfume? They want you to smell it.
So that Biden will stick his schnoz into their hair and
bury it right in their chest.
Help himself to a little. I don't think so. The worst thing I heard about him is that, the hair sniffing aside, there was some reporter that said way back in the day he came into their newsroom and they just said they all introduced them and the reporters gathered around. And then he talked for like 4 hours without taking a pause.
Oh, that's true.
And they couldn't leave, and that is a known trait of his. He's just a talk machine, just saying idiot crap, just endlessly, like he's a psychopath. How could you do that?
Yeah. So I'm just saying, I see a time in the future where like men will just walk into a room with women, and you can't hug them. They'll just be like, no touching. Everyone's terrified to say anything to each other because anything you say will be misconstrued in the worst way. Like I can't have a conversation with a normal liberal woman because any of my words can be misconstrued because now words have like 800 meanings to one word and they can just take the worst meaning.
Yeah, and you have to formally write down, I would like to smell your coconutty hair. Can I please? If so, check yes. If no,
may I compliment your outfit? May I compliment your beauty? May I compliment your hair? May I compliment? And it's like they're going to walk around dolling themselves up and then be like, just don't notice it.
Yeah, and it's so bizarre. And they want both worlds. Like they want this like freedom to do porn and strip clubs and like all this stuff, but they also want this super legalistic sexuality where you're like. It's just very bizarre, the juxtaposition.
Wear a giant push-up bra and show giant cleavage, and it's like, you will not notice. It sucks the air out of the room, but it's like, if you notice, you're scum. I'm like, what are you doing? Almost everything, the way women dress, are made to emphasize their beauty and their color and their vibrancy, their wonderful hair, their beautiful face. Youthfulness, which is always attractive to a male because it represents like a reproductive age. They hide their wrinkles, they get facial surgery, and they're like, don't notice, or there's something wrong with you. It's like it's dumb.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're Joe Biden, you keep getting those plugs put in, so that he looks youthful and doesn't. Do I look a little less creepy now that my hairline has moved a little bit forward?
Yeah, his eyes are a little stretched.
Yeah, he's gotten some weird surgery. There's no going back from that.
There's some tight Pelosi skin going on there. It's thin like a pterodactyl wing because he's like 800 years old. You can see right through to his skull.
Pelosi, I picture her as like having a pit crew where like every week she just walks in. And then she's out and she's back, moving around. But yeah.
Just lift her hair up, pull the skin back, and tie it off, and then put the hair back down.
Yeah, the Fox News people, because they just have like interchangeable blondes, they'll just like vanish for a few weeks and suddenly come back. They have a completely different face, giant breasts, and they're just like, oh, okay, got some work done, just vanished and came back. They have the giant fish lips suddenly.
Yeah, that California thing of you're walking behind someone and you think they're 23 because they got the juicy sweatpants or whatever. I'm talking 10 years ago. And then
juicy the brand, not juicy adjective.
Hopefully not. Yeah, the brand.
I'm just checking.
But then
I'm just grilling you. I'm just grilling.
But then they turn around and it's Nancy Pelosi face. You're like, oh God. Yeah. We need to grill. We have a couple more minutes to grill Ethan on his beliefs.
Let me attempt to clarify, because I think that my use of the term small C conservative in a group that I didn't mean to group myself into, and I think what I meant it as more of an adjective, like when I'm talking about my values are pretty straight conservative. I mean, I'm capitalist, I'm freedom, free market,
small government, small
government, all that stuff. And faith. My faith is pretty tied into everything. So, but I think that my politics are more libertarian. It's like I wouldn't vote for the Supreme Court to force the country to live by something that I think is right for everybody. Though I guess I would dial that back to for abortion. I would do that actually.
Yeah. So you would. I'm telling you.
So something that is like, yeah, that's true. Though, yeah, I would.
Well, what would be a counterexample? What would be a thing that you think that is on the table that you wouldn't want to see?
Well, like, I don't know, this could get me some hot water. I mean, like, for instance, I don't agree with how gay marriage came into being to the Supreme Court, and I don't think that it should be done the other way. Like, I wouldn't rule it out that way either. I think that there's a lot of things should be left to the states. So, like, most policy stuff. I mean, I think
but you realize you're a participant of the state, like the consent of the will of the government governed. They're asking you, what do you think should happen with gay marriage? And you're like, well, I'm personally against it, but publicly go crazy.
Yeah, I'll vote my vote. But if everybody votes and they vote against it, but then the Supreme Court overrules everybody, I disagree with that.
Yeah, well, the Supreme Court voted that a woman can determine when life exists. If she wants the baby, it has rights. And if she doesn't want the baby, it doesn't have rights. We oppose that.
Yeah, I oppose that.
And that's no different than the government saying, I say the word marriage means a man and a woman. I think it's well implied, and I think it's the only definition of marriage that makes any sense. And then if the state says, what do you think marriage means? And I say, I think it means this.
But I think that, like, the definition of stuff does come down to what people, I mean, this is a tough argument for me to make, because I'm in favor of traditional marriage. Like, I do believe that, like, in reality, marriage was created with a purpose, and it is a one man, one woman thing. But
you wouldn't vote it.
No, I would vote it, but I'm saying I wouldn't want the Supreme Court to, like, if all of society was voting opposite me and saying that marriage, like pro-gay marriage, if society was voting pro-gay marriage, then the Supreme Court shot that down and said traditional marriage. Now, it's easy for me to say this because this hasn't happened, but
has it ever gone that way? I'm trying to think of an example.
Very rarely.
Slavery.
So it's easy to say.
America was largely for racism, let's say, and the Supreme Court stepped in and said, no, blacks have equal rights. There are times when civil rights law comes in and overrules what a state or an individual thinks and says, because this is a principle of the Constitution.
Yeah,
that's true. Muddy. That's true.
Would you say about Seventh-day Adventist, not Seventh-day Adventists, but Christian scientists that say we will not take our kids to a doctor? So they have religious freedom to not take their kids and give them chemotherapy or whatever the medical procedure is. And the court might step in and say there is a higher law for parenting, and we're going to step into your family and take away your family rights and make your kids go to a doctor. That's a tough one.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, that one is always that's very tough, because you do not want to erode the family, the unit of the family. So, man, yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah. Or
I don't have
a Muslim family
answer
that
on that.
practices. No one has a problem with going to a Muslim family and saying you can't practice genital mutilation on your daughters.
Yeah.
We don't care what your religion is. You can't do that. Are you gonna do the old defer the state when the same way that they say two men can marry, and you just say, well, you got to give those women the ability to mutilate their daughters according to their religion because we have religious practice. It's weird to me that everything that religion believes becomes suddenly optional.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that health and humanism believes is mandatory.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I see.
Mandatory, and compulsory in some cases. You will participate. Witness the.
You will learn Darwin in school.
Yeah, or you will, you will bake this cake, kind of a thing. Like it is compulsory. Whereas a few years ago, if you said that, you'd be, oh, stop scaremongering. No one's going to do that.
Yeah. Come on, don't give me this. They're going to kill babies on a table.
Right.
It's infanticide. Very funny.
I think if I just go straight to the core of why I think a lot of these ways is, and this is not an excuse or an argument. This is admitting an infantilized way of thinking probably, but I think that a lot of people are very horrified by the way the country is right now, or things, there's one side that's horrified, one side that's celebrating. People want to push the country. They're dissatisfied with how things are, and they want to push it a certain direction. I actually I like being in a country that disagrees without getting violent, and I guess I have this appreciation for it. And I think all of us have a lot of friends on the left, a lot of friends who aren't Christians.
Yes.
I am very happy to share the country with them. I want the liberty to be there, to have that, for them to express their thoughts and their views and their vote. And I want all that. And I don't want to create, I don't want to express through my views and through my opinions that I want them to be shut down or to feel like they can't express it. I want to be able to argue my point, but I want, by this same token, of them to be able to argue theirs. And so I think I'm expressing out of that feeling that I think that people are getting the feeling that Republicans are trying to shut down the left's trying to shut down the right, and I kind of hate that on both sides.
But do you think it's actually true that Republicans are trying to shut down the left in a way that
not as much as they're saying? People are acting and both sides act very victimized about that kind of stuff, I think. And though the left, literally does try to shut down free speech a lot. So I guess it's
yeah. And I'm just saying, I know that marriage is between a man and a woman. I know that it's not between two men. Yes, I have tons of friends that are gay married, and I can be totally civil, love them. I see the image of God in them, whatever. Mm-hmm. I just don't think I really resent the cultural pressure and the shaming that says you only believe that because you hate them. That's a lie.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's a total lie, and I hate that too.
So I'm just screw you. The government asked me, and if the Supreme Court came to that right decision of, no, we know what marriage means, and marriage is between a man and a woman. It's not the first time that the Supreme Court decided something right or wrong. We have a past of it that it needs to be able to correct itself over time as new information comes in. But this is just a top-down jam down of, now we're getting down to 9 unelected judges are being appointed by presidents and deciding all of our laws for us. And Scalia always said that's not their job.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think
the Constitution is silent
power
on marriage, and the government should be silent.
Yeah, that power should be used for, with lots of reservations. And I think that there's a desire to bypass all the messiness of debate and arguing and voting, and just get the Supreme Court to take your side. And I generally don't like that. I do think there's issues where it needs to be done, but yeah.
Well, think of all the laws that would have had to have been written and enacted that, take, for instance, the abortion decision just being ripped out of the people's hands is probably, no matter where you stand on the issue, has got to be one of the most destructive things that the Supreme Court ever did. to take matter of this is the highest level of morality and ethics and your belief about life and just take it away and go, no, here's what it is. Live with it. Deal with it, little people. And that, man, we're still reaping the whirlwind of that one.
And if you look at the stability that the family brings to America and how we undermined it first with no-fault divorce, which is another way to make marriage not mean marriage. That was the first shot that we all thought was cool. And then to bring in other ways of undermining the definition of marriage, when they remove that stabilizing factor, the amount of destruction that we will see in America, I think, will be ongoing and long-lasting. I think whatever marriage is about, the left has been attacking and winning ground, and they just keep thinking victory until they can't eat and the electricity doesn't work and there's no one to reproduce and pay the taxes that you need. It's like have fun with your paradise you're creating, because I'm just going to weigh in on my vote at every step.
Yeah.
Well, hey,
that's a reaction.
That was that discussion. Really, that's a big upper. We're laughing all the way to the end of the show here.
I'm not putting on a good show, Mike. I failed as an entertainer, I feel.
No, that was. We'll continue grilling Ethan, but we should get to our next department, which maybe will be a little more fun.
This is all shredded wheat, no frosting.
That's true. I hated those things.
That was brutal. That was brutal.
I used to put on at least 12 tablespoons of brown sugar on that to choke that crap down.
Yeah, it was a bale of hay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use the restroom. You introduce the next thing, and then I'll pretend like I know what I'm talking about. Hold on.
Okay. Well, this is our department, Old Man on the Porch, and Ethan, I don't think you qualify yet, but I'm sure you can spin some tales for us about our various ailments. And I know that you have one. You have a serious one, don't you? Don't you have
gout? I do.
Yeah. Get into
gout, yeah. Well, I haven't had a gout flare up for a while, but yeah, I could go on and on about my gout.
It comes in and out. It's a very old timey disease too. It's something from plays in the 18th century. Like characters would have, watch out for grandfather's gout. So you have a very comic disease.
Yeah. I remember when I used to work at a gas station and graveyard shift. And there was this other morbidly obese woman who worked the graveyard shift. We were the two people that worked graveyard shift. And she had gout issues too. And so one night, both of us called in sick with gout. And the owner was just like, what the heck century am I living in?
That is unbelievable.
Okay. Are we on?
We are on.
Okay. And Mike, if you want to chop that last, the prescription drug segment down, a good outro is just, wow, that got heavy. So you can cut out as soon as we're done grilling Ethan if you want to chop that, or leave it.
We're leaving it in, baby. I'm not doing editing. This is all staying in. We heard you go to the bathroom and everything. This is gold. This is good
I don't want to
stuff.
make you work or anything. Well, fooled you. I didn't really go to the bathroom. I just snorted Coke. So joke's on you.
You got me. No, Ethan just said that he worked at a place at a graveyard shift, and he and his only other coworker both called in sick with gout on the same night. No.
And the owner was just like, what is this? What is going on here?
Yeah. Yeah, so the owner tells you, he goes, I have gout too, and I showed up.
What is is it like it's pain in the legs or the joints? Explain it a little more.
Joints. You're basically my understanding of it is that the uric acid crystallizes in the joint, so it flares up as if there's broken shards of glass in the joint, and it's kind of an active, like when you're in the middle of being injured, the pain is the most intense, and then you just kind of, it's throbbing or whatever, and there's kind of I don't know what you call that pain after that, but where it's just aching or whatever. Gout has like an active pain where it's kind of like that pain that's in the moment because it's constantly cutting and growing and getting worse. It's just like it's one of the worst pains I've felt.
Yeah, my dad, he's a tough guy, get his finger chopped off, not a big deal. When he had gout, I never heard that man wail like that in my entire life.
Oh, really?
It was, oh yeah. I know how much pain Ethan goes through because I've never seen him do that. And he was just like, it was bad.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Like I got gout when I turned 21, which is really weird. Like I remember
they said, "Happy birthday, here's your gout."
Happy birthday, here's your gout. Yeah. Well, and I guess an injury can flare it up. I was in a rock band, and this is a somewhat interesting story. We were playing in the Battle of the Bands, and it was at a racetrack, and I was carrying my giant Mesa Boogie 8-stack speaker, which you're not supposed to lift alone, but I was trying to, I was in a rush, and it was dark, and I didn't realize there was a ditch in front of me, and I fell into the ditch with this giant speaker and rolled on top of my ankle and completely sprained the heck out of it. We played the show, rocked out. I was jumping all over the stage, acting like an idiot on this messed up ankle. The adrenaline, smashing into it. And when the show was over, I just fell over. I was like, holy cow, my foot hurts way worse than I thought it did. Covered in ice. I was on crutches for weeks, and then the pain didn't go away. It left the ankle, but my toe was just hurting and hurting. And I remember my birthday came around that time. I was like 21. And there's balloons at my birthday, which sounds funny. Like 20-year-old birthday, there's balloons. But my friends put a big birthday party on for me. Somebody was playing with a balloon, and the balloon was slowly falling from the sky towards my toe. And the balloon bounced off my toe, and I remember the pain just from that. I was like, ah! That's when I knew it was bad. I was like, I got to get to the doctor here. Balloons hurt my toe.
That's like the cartoon Hangover where, the cat is walking and the guy's like, stop that stomping around. You have another comic illness.
Yeah, that was that famous Hangover cartoon.
What?
I've seen
Poop Deck Pappy. He used to always be hungover. Remember him on Popeye? Come on.
Character named Poop Deck. It's already.
You guys' references, man.
Hey, we're supposed to be
like the Fleischer Brothers Popeyes from 800 years ago. It was like the invention of. It was on a zoetrope. They'd spin it and be like, "Look, it's Poop Deck Pappy."
I have a old timey comic illness that is similar to gout. I think in that. Have you ever heard? It's got a really good name too. The Chilblains. Yeah.
What?
It's when you're.
It's like Will of the Wisp.
Is that real?
It is.
Will of the Wisp.
It is real, and it's when you're.
Hey, this is segment. Wait, this is going into our next segment.
This is our next segment.
We're in our next segment.
Oh, did you start it while I was gone doing the old man curmudgeon? Aren't we supposed to be old men on the porch with our voices?
Yeah, we are. We're old timey.
I thought we were going to do each other. Like, oh, you think that's bad, do you?
You're going to do a character? I'd love to hear that. I'm not going to, but
thought all three of us were going to do our old man characters and complain about our illnesses.
That's what we're doing. But I want to hear yours, and then I'll decide whether or not I'm going to do mine. Give me your old man character.
You can't say Chilblains or whatever you just said.
Chilblains and the Will of the Wisp.
The Chilblains are when your extremities get cold, and then when they start to warm up, you get this intense pain as though they're being just crushed in a vice or being just smashed repeatedly with a hammer, and there's nothing you can do about it.
If you're cold outside and you run into a hot shower, that'll happen.
Well, no, it's more like if
needles.
No, it's not needles. It's like this intense pressure, and nothing is physically happening. It's just immense pain. So
I experienced the Chilblains. They're like needles.
It was after the Great War, the first time I got Chilblains. And,
the phantom version of Chilblains is when you feel like a dull throbbing, but the real ones are like needles.
Doug, you probably have like that iPhone thumb or something, don't you? Where you press your phone too many times, and so you
too much smashy road. Little free apps. When I was a kid, we didn't. That's another old man complaint is like all the kids on their damn phones.
I think that's legit, don't you? I mean, I think even, the old men of our generation are I guess the younger kids who grew up never talking to their siblings or their parents because they're always staring at a phone. So I'm led to understand there's a mini trend of the youngest generation being like, I'm not going to get a phone. Look at these idiots. So there might be a little bounce back from that.
Boy, one could only hope. I really have a low vision of human nature that I don't. All my kids' friends, man, they're out on a birthday party. They're all on their phones, just like looking at each other. That's what's even worse is the kid that's playing it. You understand the three kids watching, they're the dumb ones.
Yes.
I'm like, you're not even playing. You're just leaning over and looking at his screen while he's driving some car through something.
There is a deep divide. I'm in a building where I'm often in an elevator. There's lots of young people. Anyone who is roughly my age gets in an elevator and they do small talk. But if it's a young person, they hide in the corner. They look at their phone, and if you address them, they get physically terrified. Like,
yeah.
Why are you speaking to me? What possible outcome could there be to this? Why do you hate me so much?
Hey, kid in the hoodie, what are you up to today? What you doing?
Be careful of the Chilblains out there.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you about my Chilblains.
Here, look at this ankle. I smashed it. I smashed it with a speaker.
I didn't know that word existed till today. Chilblains.
Look it up. It's a real thing.
I am. I'm Googling it.
Yeah,
apparently
a fact check because I'm calling why.
In Mexico, they say that you rub garlic on it. It's supposed to help.
You get a ring of garlic and you put that around it, and then you bury a dead toad 3 days later, and it goes away.
Rub garlic on everything, though. They can have a compound fracture, and it says like rub garlic on it.
It's just to distract you from the odor. So
it's because garlic's delicious.
It doesn't have to be the naming. Like usually, they name ailments. They name it after the guy who discovered it. And then this one, they're just like, I don't want to own that. I don't want my name on that one. They just come with some crazy word.
That was from Hieronymus Chill.
Chilblains.
But please confirm you're on Google. Confirm that it's a real deal, will you? So that people
it's real. Yeah, it's real. Chilblains, and it's one word: Chilblains.
Yeah, but look who the site is by. The site is hosted by Mike. There's only one site, and it's Mike did it.
No, this is Wikipedia. It's totally legit. The Medieval Bald's Leech Book recommended treating chilblains with a mix of eggs, wine, and fennel.
He's on the site, Colonel Apothecary's chilblain powders.
Just the Farmer's Almanac.
I was trying to find the etymology of like this crazy word, but apparently blains is a real word. Whatever.
Wait, there's other kinds of blains? It's just like you go into a fire and you get the fire blains.
Yeah. Well, Blaine is the guy's name in Pretty in Pink. The bad guy was named Blaine, I think.
What?
Yeah, is there other variety of blains? That's a good question.
It's kind of like slaw. There's coleslaw, and that's about where it stops, right? I mean, I guess after the fact,
it does seem like
people call it apple slaw or something like that.
A blain is an inflammatory swelling or sore.
Never heard that.
I don't see
cool.
Other blains. Yeah.
Wow. Well, guys, we did good work here today.
What about Doug didn't give us his.
Oh, yeah. What's your old guy complaint, Doug? We have time to
It has to be some kind of a pain or illness thing, or
yeah. Put on your old guy character and
outdo us. Be like, oh, you think that's bad, do you?
I worked out this morning and I'm getting shredded. That's my Chilblain.
Oh boy,
I'm getting ripped, baby.
Oh, brother,
you got to have spine issues with that bizarre physique you got going on there.
It really does look awful when I lift weights. It is so unnatural. Like a weight does not belong anywhere in my body. Yesterday I did my legs. This is my old man complaint. I was doing squats and all these things, hamstring curls and stuff. And I walked out to the parking lot and my legs just were collapsing under me as I was trying to get back to my car. I had to like grab a wall beside me at some point. It just went like just turned to noodle. They would not hold up my weight.
I do picture you as being one of those guys on a YouTube video where you go to lift your max and then your arms just snap in half. And
yeah. I'm always aware that is going to happen to me at some point.
I imagine you like one of those car dealership wind-powered guy, like noodle people. And like you're trying to start a weed eater. That's what I imagine you look like.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys. The little yellow floppy guy with a wind machine in him. Yeah. Hey, like over here, look at this. That's me. That's my spirit animal. My familiar. My familiar.
Oh, well, good stuff, guys. Any last words? Beware of the Chilblains is mine.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Let's get shredded and ripped. That's mine.
Oh, okay, Doug. So Doug takes his old man thing and then he does a humble brag about how, oh yeah, I got hurt while I was getting ripped out there.
I was getting ripped yesterday. Really getting swole with my legs were getting swole. And I couldn't even walk in the parking lot. I worked out so effectively that my legs would not work. That's how far I pushed my body.
So Doug's last words are, "Brah, do you even lift?" I think is where he's coming from. This has been the Audio Mullet. We'll be back with another controversial topic coming up very soon. So long.
Bum, bum, bum.
Audio Mullet.